What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 29 of That's No Moon Pod. I want to thank anyone who tunes into this show every week. I've made this into a healthy habit of mine to upload at least one podcast every week on Wednesday for the past, well, this is episode 29, so do the math. These past 7 months have been very interesting and challenging. Uh, my life's been kind of up and down the past year. Um, and this has been one of the ways I've been able to kind of stay consistent with something and stay consistent with something that I enjoy doing, which is kind of just blabbering on about UFOs, comic books, movies, Star Wars, aliens, whatever, right? And that's kind of what I want this whole Admire My Moonsault YouTube, Instagram, Twitch. I kind of just want it to be whatever it is that I enjoy doing at the time, but the things I enjoy doing are what I like talking about on here and playing video games on Twitch, live streaming on there, posting all the comic books I read on my Instagram, trying to get better at using Twitter. Um, I do use Twitter on my personal account, but trying to start all over after years of using Twitter on a completely different personal account and transferring over to a business account, if you would, or just a whole new Twitter account, and trying to follow all the people I follow on my personal that have all the same interests or post the same kind of things that I like to keep in touch with. But I'll get to it eventually. Um, getting better at getting better at it slowly. Um, I want to eventually start using Snapchat. Maybe that's when I start using more video content because right now I don't really have a camera. Um, I'm honestly in no rush to get any kind of video camera to record any of these episodes yet, but it is something that I do plan on doing in the near future at least. Um, I just kind of want to keep this going for a little while and just keep getting all these episodes under my belt and just slowly um, build this audience and a cool fan base hopefully one day, and um, we can all join in together on the comments and whatnot, discuss and share our opinions on whatever it is I decide to blabber on about on one of these episodes. But yeah, thanks again for whoever's tuning in, and hopefully you stick around and let's see where this goes from here on out. Um, I kind of wanted to talk about a mixture of things. In this episode, Jeremy Corbell, he just released his latest episode of his podcast with George Knapp. Um, his podcast is called Weaponized, and they actually had some really good footage of these string of lights in the air being recorded by multiple people with multiple witnesses who were actually Marines themselves recording this occurrence of lights in the night sky hovering above and near a big military base in California, I believe. And this was not even that long ago. I think it was 2021 or 2020, just a couple years ago. And, you know, like I said, there's a bunch of witnesses with this whole footage that go along with um, screenshots of still images. Um, and you can clearly see if you go watch the episode of Weaponized, or if you're on UFO Twitter like I am, or uh, if you're just in touch with the UFO community, um, it seems like it's always trending now every day. Either UAP, UFO, Mick West, which I'll get into him in a little bit, I guess, because I just saw his um, debunking, if you will, not that long ago before I recorded this. Um, and I have a couple thoughts on his observation of the evidence that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp provided. But yeah, like I said, this whole subject is it's always trending every day. It seems like there's some new kind of footage being released, and Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are kind of the I don't know, want to say mainstream, I guess, but they're the ones that are going on the news, going on Joe Rogan. They have this type of big following and are kind of put in the forefront of this whole community as the kind of probably unspoken or not unspoken for the not even self-proclaimed, because I'm pretty sure they don't even consider themselves this, but they're kind of the main faces of the community, of the UFO community. And Joe Rogan's probably in there too with his bald head somewhere, and he probably don't even want to be in that community, but he is just by default because he's the whole reason why, or at least one of the main reasons why this subject is as big as it is still to this day. Um, so yeah, without people like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, Joe Rogan, um, these guys in the mainstream media who continue to keep this subject going, they're the people that we really rely on a lot of the times with how this news gets put out there within the mainstream and online on the internet, whatnot. Me just hopping on here on this little $10 Amazon wireless Bluetooth mic. Um, I'm just someone that observes from afar, but at the same time, um, I think people like me, and I think a lot of other people around the world should use their opinions respectfully, but also um, don't be afraid to get it out there somehow and express it in some way that makes you the most comfortable. I know um, this certain subject is always kind of ticky tacky sometimes with a lot of people. Um, it gets turned into a joke a lot of the times right away. Um, Not as much as it used to for sure, but even still, it'll still happen occasionally on the news, or you talk to it, or you talk to someone about UFOs or aliens. You bring it up to someone that you never met, or you're on a date with someone, or you just randomly bring it up to someone that you're trying to make conversation with, or something, right? You always end up kind of laughing eventually about something relating to the subject, but it's just what it is, right? But I thought personally the footage that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp uh, that they premiered on their episode, I thought it was actually really good footage. Not only the video of the lights hovering in the sky, they seem to be just in formation, similar to the Phoenix Lights event, if you remember that back in the 90s. Um, Not as big, I don't think, as the Phoenix Lights. I believe the Phoenix Lights was said to be like multiple, if not at least two football fields lengthwise, which sounds crazy to think. If imagine if you were one of those witnesses who said they were just lying down in their backyard or something, and they saw it hover above their house slowly. Um, and it seemed like these witnesses of this UFO that these Marines recorded, they're all excited, they're all joking around, saying it's aliens, it's we got UFO, take me to your leader and whatnot. Just the funny things that you'd probably say if you're recording something crazy in the nighttime sky that you can't explain. Um, it's really cool footage. I think everyone should go check it out and decide for themselves what it could be possibly. I mean, if you take what Corbell provides with the evidence, with the witnesses who recorded it, and all the other eyewitnesses who have a lot of credibility with the military background, and uh, like I said, there's just a lot of witnesses who saw this thing, and there's not only video of it, but there's also still images of it, and in the still images, which I'll probably use as the thumbnail of this video, you could see it looks like a craft because it's not fully dark in the still image, but you can still see the bright lights and formation of some kind of triangle, like an object, not a pyramid, but triangle for sure, um, or boomerang type shape. But the formation is like perfect. Um, the lights don't seem to, just fall down slowly like flares. They seem to be moving but staying still in place. Um, there's images of when they zoom in on the video, like orbs. It looks like just like flashing, pulsating orbs with lights around it. So there's multiple evidence of video footage and still photos. So I highly recommend anyone who wants to see for themselves go and check out his episode, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp's Weaponized. Um, and see for yourself. Let me know what you think, because I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty legit. And the area that they got this footage in, surrounded by, I think, huge military bases. in California. We know California is a hot spot, especially off the coast right there. Um, it could be anything, but what I don't think it is flares, which Mick West proclaims. I saw his tweets right before I hopped on here to record, and um, he's saying that he debunked this by being flares, saying that there's these certain flares being shot up around this time that this video was recorded. Um, and he always brings up, uh, you know, footage of him debunking what it is or what it could be. He showed some flares of what it looked like in some sort of formation like that. But um, I think when you try really hard to start debunking something like this, um, when you take away who's recording, who's behind the camera, and whose eyes are actually visually seeing this in the sky for themselves and who they are as people being Marines themselves, um, saying that they know that it can't be flares. There's no way in that specific formation hovering like that in the air for so long. Um, I think when you bring images of flares falling from the sky, um, and saying how it looks similar to what is on the video, um, I don't see how that could be any more credible than just saying, well, take into consideration who's recording, who they are, where they are. I think that speaks greater than what Mick West usually provides in his debunking tweets. But that's just my opinion. Um, I think sometimes, or a lot of times at least, that these things can be explained by some sort of natural phenomena or whatever. But I think sometimes, like this one, I think it could be what we all want it to be. I think the percentage of it being some sort of high end technology, advanced, I think the percentage of it being that is greater than it being some random flares being shot up in the air. When you take all the consideration of all the evidence provided with these videos and photos. But like I said, let me know what y'all think. Um, I'll probably put one of those photos as the as a thumbnail to this video. But man, I love seeing footage like this. There's always new footage posted on Instagram. I send it to all my friends in the group chats, and I'm kind of the only one that really is into it. I got some cousins and stuff that are really into the subject as well, but it's always funny, kind of when you talk to friends or whoever about these things. They always say, right, or joke around, government's gonna come after you, dude, or you're gonna get the government called on us, dude, something like that, right? But just joking around. It's just funny. But I don't know those things because how everyone says with the algorithm now, especially and with AI. Um, and I haven't talked about AI too much because I feel like everyone just talks about AI now. Um, because everyone does. It's the new hotness out there, right? It was virtual reality and metaverse and whatnot. Now it's AI. Um, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on AI as of right now, but I think eventually I'll have to make some sort of video on it. Um, there's just so many people talking about it. Richard Dolan, if y'all know who Richard Dolan is, a longtime UFO researcher as well. Um, he has a great YouTube channel, and he just released a video of him talking to an AI on ChatGPT, um, which is pretty interesting for you know seeing him, a guy like him who goes into ChatGPT and has full on conversations with the AI about UFOs and aliens and whatnot. Um, it's pretty cool to see him make a video on that, kind of show what he talked to the AI about. Uh, but eventually, one day, I'll make a video on AI. I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know what I see. Um, I've had a couple conversations with the one on my Snapchat, but nothing too crazy or anything. Just asking it stupid questions and seeing what it says, and it's pretty cool for what it is. But I mean, I haven't used it since probably that first couple of days it dropped on my update. But it's whatever. Um, but yeah, for sure, one day I'll have to make a video on AI. Um, but like I was saying with my friends and how they always say the government or whatever is listening or they're gonna they're gonna come after you, bro, or whatever. One time I'm trying to figure out how to tell the story real quick while being a little vague, but um, this is always a funny, cool story that I like to tell people sometimes. My my dad one time was at work or driving home from work at night. It's probably like 8 o'clock p.m. So the sun's down, and I'm at Subway, just getting a sandwich, and just chilling with my friends. I think I was in high school. I think I was still in high school when this happened, but a while ago, right? Anyways, I'm chilling at Subway with my friends, and I get a phone call from my dad, and he's in probably the next city for where I'm at, so he's probably about 15 minutes away from where I'm at. Um, so I pick up the phone, and he's saying, "Hey, are you outside right now?" And I'm like, "No, I'm in the Subway." He's like, "Hey, I'm driving. Um, I'm on my way back from work, and I'm looking at this light, and it's just like hovering, dude, in the sky, and it's like a bright light, and it's just been hovering there for as long as I've been driving towards it on the highway, and it hasn't moved. It's just been in the same spot. It's not the moon. It's not a star." And he's describing it to me while I'm listening to him on the phone, sitting down in the Subway, and I'm like trying to tell him like, well, you can't record it, or you can't take a picture, or you can't like. I'm just trying to like figure out what exactly it could be, maybe. And he's just describing this bright light in the sky hovering for a long time. It seemed like, and he said it was kind of orangey, goldenish color. Um, and then he said it just went out because he hung up the phone. He's like, "Hold on, I'm gonna try to record it, or I'm gonna try to." Yeah, he said he's gonna try to get a picture of it. And so he hangs up the phone. I'm like, "All right," because I was telling him like, "Dude, you gotta record this. Like, get off the phone and see if you can get it." And he's like, "Okay." So we hang up, and I'm like, "That's crazy. I hope he gets some good footage of it." And I'm kind of just waiting for him to call back, and he calls back not right away, but not long after we hang up. He calls me back. I'd say 5 to 10 minutes, and he said that the light went out. He couldn't get the footage because he's driving on the highway, obviously. Um, but in between that time, because I'm already starting to leave Subway, um, me and my friends were starting to dip, and then he calls me back once we're starting to leave, and then um, he says that he got a phone call from a unknown number, and he answers the phone, and he says that no one answers or nothing because to him he's thinking, well, why am I getting a random call from an unknown number right after I just talked to my son, telling him if he is outside so he could go look if he can see this UFO that I'm looking at, right? And then he says the call ends, and then whenever he looks on the caller ID, he looks up the number, and it's from some random military base in Colorado or something. And this was after he hung up the phone with me the first time, to where I tell him to try to record it. And once he decides he can't, he gets that phone call, and then he calls me right after that to tell me all this because he asked me if I got a phone call. I'm like, no. So I mean, I don't know, with things like that being discussed over the phone, and then to randomly get a phone call, and then when you look up the phone number, it's some random military base in Colorado. Um, I don't know. It's weird. Is that just a coincidence? But it's just things like that or stories like that. When I hear people tell, I'm just like, man, people that are paranoid all the time, which I don't find myself being a paranoid person, even though I do have bad anxieties about certain things, like most people do in this world. Uh, being listened to or feeling like I'm being spied on by the government on my phone or whatnot isn't really something I'm too worried about. And that's pretty much why I also haven't made an AI video yet. But like I said, that's soon to come. Uh, follow me on Twitch, on IG, at Admire My Moonsault. Posting a pod every week, every Wednesday. 30th episode next week, which is crazy to even think about. But we're going to keep it going for 30 more. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. Y'all stay safe. And I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.